questions. So I have another Q&A video for you today. If I haven't gotten to your question yet, I'm sorry about that. Please ask it again below and I will try to get to it next time. All right, so today's questions are, first, this is going to go well. First off, I feel like I should have figured this out by now, but what is scorched earth? And this question, I guess, is referring to, I keep saying that this year I am on a scorched earth budget. And to me, that means everything else goes except debt repayment and, you know, the essentials. So I am just going as whole hog as possible to get rid of this debt as fast as humanly possible. I'm sick of it being in my life. I want it out of here. So, but there's also the etymology of the term is, I hope that's the right word. All right. A scorched earth budget, or scorched earth policy is a military strategy that targets anything that might be useful to the enemy while advancing through or withdrawing from an area. Practice can be carried out by the military in enemy territory or in its own home territory, is the official definition of scorched earth, and that's where it came from. It's actually a military strategy. But for me, I have targeted every single aspect of my budget. I did this before this year started and figured out anything that I could cut, anything that I could live without, and I threw that at debt. So using everything possible to throw it at debt and get it out of the way. Get out of enemy territory for me. So that is what it is. If you're interested, I will link my scorched earth budget video down below. There are two actually. One is a preview of my January budget and me kind of explaining what I've cut, and the second is my January debt report where I show you exactly how effective my scorched earth budget was the first month. So I'm excited about that. All right, next up, do you open a new account each time you have a sinking fund and have like 5 or 7 accounts? The way that I do it is I have used for years a bank called Capital One 360. It's not, well, it's the same ownership of the credit card. It used to be called Ing, but it is an online only bank that has no fees. They actually pay you interest on the money you keep with them. And I have that separate from my everyday banking account. So I keep all of my sinking funds in there. I keep my emergency fund in there, and it's interest bearing. So I'm earning on that. Now, what they allow you to do is have a checking account and up to 25 savings accounts, and you can see them all on the same page, and they'll let you name them whatever you want. So I have emergency fund and it has an account number in there, and I have car repair replace fund, Rory's annual shot sinking fund, and I have all of my sinking funds in there. They're all labeled, and you can make it so they auto draft a certain amount each month, or you can just have them in there, and you can also access them pretty much instantaneously. I can get on my phone and transfer money from my emergency fund to my checking account through them like that. And the money goes over immediately. And then I have a debit card, which I can use, which eliminates the need for a credit card. A lot of people say that they need a credit card in case of emergencies. I don't. I have a debit card that links to an online account, which I can put money into immediately. So there is that. And, you know, there's a small chance of, you know, if I'm out in the middle of nowhere, but I mean, if I don't have service, someone else isn't going to either. You can usually have a day or so to gather money if you need money. So there is that. So I have 11 or so accounts at the moment. At one point I had 15. But yeah, it's great because I can log in there anytime and see exactly what's in each sinking fund, and I can access it if I need to, or I can schedule out for it to get funded on like the first of each month or whatever, or I can get to it immediately if I need it. Okay. Alrighty. Oh, and the link to Capital One 360 is down below. I have used them for years and highly recommend them, because why should you pay a bank to keep your money? They pay you at 360. I love it. I'm all about it. Okay. Next up, what % of your monthly income would you recommend putting into having a Life Now fund or personal money? I'm on baby step 3B and feel like I deserve a bit of having a life fund, but I'm unsure what is too much, too little. I don't want to feel deprived, but I'm having trouble gauging how much would be a good idea. This is obviously going to depend on your income and how quickly you want to save up for your house, which is baby step 3B. So that means, if you're unfamiliar with the Dave plan, this means that she has already completed baby step 1, which is a baby emergency fund of $1,000, baby step 2, which is paying off all non-mortgage debt, baby step 3, which is a 3 to 6 month emergency fund, and now she's saving for a house, which is exciting. So, or maybe it's car. Is 3B car? Oh, yeah, 3B is new car. Sorry. 4 is house, I think. I'm very focused on baby step 2 right now. Apologies. So, if you have already paid off your debt and everything like that, you've probably already kind of raised your budget to the ground and you've lived on very little, or maybe you didn't have debt and you were just able to gauge up to. I would say try maybe 10%. Obviously, you're saving up for a car. You might want to save for a house in the future. But I really think that if you're budgeting and you know this plan, that you'll know once you try out a few numbers what feels right. You know, you don't want to give yourself $1,000 a month unless you're a millionaire to just kind of do whatever with it, have a Life Now fund. But you want to give yourself something. You've worked very hard to get this far and you've been very successful. So yeah. Just experiment a little bit. I would go with being under a little bit at first rather than giving yourself too much. Just experiment with it a little bit. It's the only way you're going to figure out what feels right. But I believe in you. I certainly believe in you, and I think you're going to do fantastic. All right. And by the way, I mentioned that having Budget Girl Has a Life Now fund in a previous video of what I'm going to do when I'm debt free, and that came from me saying I'm certainly going to increase my personal budget from $40 a month up because I will actually be able to have a life and be able to do things other than pay off my debt. So I'm excited about that. And for myself, I think I'm probably going to increase it to maybe $250 a month, which is very exciting. And I'll gauge from there. I'll also have to experiment a little bit with how much is too much and how much is not. Because I also am going to be moving into baby step 3 and saving my emergency fund as fast as possible. And then moving through the rest of the baby steps. Alrighty. Similar question. Budget Girl, will you upgrade your car since you purchased it with over 150,000 miles? I'm assuming this is once I am debt free. Or really, am I planning on upgrading my car at all? No. Cars are not really important to me. Cars are important to some people, and that's fine if that's what you're into and you want a nice car and you're willing to work and save and purchase a nice car. Good for you. I don't care. What I'm driving right now is fine. It's a 2005, 2006. This is how much I know about cars. I don't know what year my own car is. I think it's a 2006 Kia Rio 5. It's fine. I bought it for $3,000 cash. It does have 160,000 miles on it. Everything works though. Like the air conditioner work, all the windows work, everything works. And I have driven so much worse. Like this car, it has a clicky lock. It's fantastic. I love it. It has everything I need. So I have no intention of trading up in car until this one doesn't work anymore. So like I said, I'm not judging anyone that loves cars. I know lots of people that love cars and that's their thing. I would rather have better clothes than a nicer car. I would rather have a lot of things than a nicer car. I think my car is perfectly fine. It's perfectly presentable. It looks nice. It gets me where I need to go. So I'm going to drive it till it's dead. And then I'll get another car. I will probably not get another $3,000 car. Once I'm out of debt, I'll probably go up and maybe get like an $8,000 or $9,000 or $10,000 car once I am in a better financial situation, don't have any debt, have all my money saved, and that will be a car scaled to the lifestyle to which I have. But I never plan on getting like anything fancy or anything new. Certainly not anything new. Used cars all the way. So, all right, next question. All right, I am on baby step 2 and I want sinking funds to help me budget. But do I need to concentrate that money on debt first? I get this question so much, and it's a tricky little business because here's the thing. When you're on baby step 2, you want as much money as possible going to your debt. But probably one of the reasons you got into debt was because you didn't manage your money well. And I'm not judging. I'm the same exact way. Student loans, and not only for school, but I took them out to live off of. So stupid talking here, formally stupid at least. So the thing is that life comes up and we're doing zero-based budget, so we're putting every single dollar a name, everything extra is going to debt, but life still happens. So you create sinking funds for things that you know that are going to cost money and they're coming up. So Christmas every year deserves a sinking fund because it's going to come up, and if you don't plan for it, you're going to have to pull out the credit card or do something stupid to pay for it. So what I've done previously, I'm not doing it this year because scorched earth budget, but what I've done previously is put aside $15 a month, $20 a month into a savings account for Christmas, so it's paid and it's funded when it's there. I have put aside, I think it was $7 or $8 a month for Rory's annual shots, so that I knew that when an expense came, I would have the money for it. Now, the trick is to not make 20 sinking funds and then not have any money left over to pay to debt. You have to decide what is important. You probably don't need a sinking fund for clothes. And actually, that's kind of a popular sinking fund. People will, put $10 aside a month for clothes. But if you're in debt and you really want to get out of it and you have a perfectly serviceable wardrobe, then that money might be served better at debt. Now, if you don't have a perfectly serviceable wardrobe, then yeah, you might want to save a little bit of money for clothes so you can look presentable, rise through the ranks, etc., have a good job, and keep it. But you don't just want to say, I'm going to create a vacation sinking fund while I'm in baby step 2 because I want to go on vacation one day. That money is probably going to be a lot better served paying off your debt. Now, say your grandmother is sick and you know that when it comes time, you're going to need to fly home for the funeral. And you know that it's going to happen soon. If it's an expense that you're going to have is usually my gauge. It's something you're going to have to pay for at some point. Then my personal opinion is that, yeah, go ahead and start saving for it a little at a time with a sinking fund. But you have to be careful because it is far too easy to say, I want to do this in a few months. It's not a need, and justify saving for it instead of paying off of debt. And then you're just not going to get nearly as far. I've cut all of my sinking funds this year for my scorched earth budget, and I am going so much faster at debt. I had about $180 worth of sinking funds before. Christmas, except, medical fund, Rory shots, this, that, the other thing. I even had a sinking fund for the Operation Christmas Child shoebox I do every year. It was $4 a month. I had a $4 a month sinking fund for Pig Fest, which is a family reunion I go to every year. And all of those add up. Every single month I'm seeing the dividends of this now, of just everything at debt. Now, because I am so close to being debt-free, I don't have to fund Christmas right now. I will be out of debt by Christmas so I can fund Christmas with money I'm going to have. If you're not going to be out of debt by Christmas, you might want to start funding money for Christmas. So I hope that makes sense to you. You're walking a tightrope here, and it's okay. This is the perfect example of managing your money well, of being very devoted to something but still planning for the future. So I've done this before for car. I knew that my last car was on its last leg. I started sinking funding for a new car because I knew that if I didn't do that, I was either going to have to take on a loan or I wasn't going to be able to get to work. So it has to be dire, is what it is in my head. That's how I created sinking funds. Is this something that I'm going to have to pay for whether I like it or not, or is it dire? So go at sinking funds with that mindset, and I don't think you'll go wrong at all. Good luck. Okay, that is all the questions I have time for today. I will see you next time. Leave your questions below. See you soon.